All right, pushing buttons. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today is Amanda Suffecool. She's, of course, Eye on the Target Radio. Although the show is on hiatus right now, she's also Women for Gun Rights, and somebody you should definitely be paying attention to because she's also running for the NRA board coming up. You should be getting next month, if you're an NRA member, you'll be getting in your magazine you get every month or two, you'll be getting your ballot, and she's on the ballot for NRA board in 2023. Amanda, thanks for coming along today.
Oh, well, thanks for having me, and thanks for doing the pitch about me running for the board. You know, I think it's definitely a bucket list item. The NRA is 150 years old, and people say right now that they're having a little bit of trials and tribulations with it. And so my goal is that not on my watch. It needs to be around for the next 150 years, so that the NRA is kind of the front man, taking the guff, taking the grief, and allowing organizations like SAF to be in the trenches and do the work that they do without having to take so much of it. Right now the NRA by all of the legislators is number one hated person organization, and frankly, crazy as it sounds, let's keep it that way, and let's not spread out to where everybody starts looking at every Second Amendment organization and deciding they hate them all.
Well, and anybody who's a regular a consumer of media that I put out knows that I am not the world's biggest fan of the NRA right now. However, I do believe we need a strong NRA. I believe there's a rot in the NRA right now, and it starts at the very top. If we're going to fix it, we've got to have people on the board that can fix it. And so that's another reason.
I don't really have a comment about that portion, but I do say that I'm a degreed engineer who spent the last 40 years, if you will, with companies where we would do buyouts and companies in distress and evaluations and those types of things, and so I think that I'm very suited to do some evaluations to see for myself the health of the NRA and the overall status.
Absolutely. Well, let's I'm waiting. We're supposed to have one more person joining us.
And so far he's not saying he's in, eh?
Well, he said he's in. Yeah. He's trying to get access to the show notes where the link to connect is, and so we'll see. But I think right now I need to let everybody know if you would please, if we love interacting with people that are watching us. If you're watching us live on the Polite Society Podcast, YouTube, or Facebook channels, and it's got to be not a group, but a Facebook channel. If you're watching us on Polite Society Podcast, Facebook, or YouTube channels, go ahead and comment on that live video. If you're catching us in a group, if you're catching us on OpsLens, if you're catching us anywhere else, go to Twitter, tweet with the hashtag #TheBullet, and we'll get that, on the air as well. And I'm just finishing hooking up all social media.
And Paul loves those comments. I have to say that you'll be sitting here and all of a sudden you get small and it shifts over and here's a comment and you're trying to read it and you got one eyeball going here, but it's all good, and it makes it very interactive. And the fun part and funny is the fact that when you do Second Amendment news often enough, that one story ties to another story, which ties to another story, and it all kind of starts to weave together. And so the comments help blend things together.
Well, and we have very intelligent viewers and listeners,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll occasionally give me a angle that I haven't thought about for a story yet. We'll be talking about a story, and all of a sudden here comes a comment. Ooh, I hadn't thought about that one yet.
Or thought about it in that direction or
Right.
that way or that viewpoint. Yeah, I think those are all very, very legitimate. You know, one of the people who you have on the bullet that I really find that I like their viewpoint and they look at things slightly differently is Tom Knighton. And
Oh, he's a little different, all right.
but I watch how he looks at things, and it's like, yes, I agree. And so many of the things that I start with as kind of the boilerplate for Eye on the Target Radio has article base. It has a history or ties back to an article by Tom Knighton, an article by Cam Edwards, you know, something. But Tom, I probably use more than any other Second Amendment author out there.
I do as well. Matter of fact, there's a story by him in the show note in this rundown for today, and he is here every other Monday. I think, and he recently had some personal things going on. I think he's scheduled again in January. Let me pull my calendar real quick since we've got a little bit of time here.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
there we
because
go.
he's taken a little personal time off.
Actually, believe it or not,
He's on
he's
Monday?
scheduled for this coming Monday. So,
There you go. Okay.
yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's get into the news. First one. This one really burns me. This is off NewYorkPost.com. President Biden said Wednesday there should be societal guilt on the 10th anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre for the failure of legislation to ban assault weapons. 26 and 27-year-old and 26.
Yeah, it's written hard. It's 20,
6 and
20
7-year-olds.
6
Yeah.
and 7-year-olds.
And
Right.
6 adults were murdered at the school in Newtown, Connecticut on December 4th, 2012. Yada, yada. The quote from Biden, 10 years ago today, our nation watched as the unthinkable happen. We should have societal guilt for taking too long to deal with this problem. And then the story goes on to say that he was the vice president at the time of the shooting. I want to go back 20 years before that, 22 years to be exact. In 1990, there was a bill that went through the Senate and eventually the House and was signed by George H.W. Bush, George Bush the senior, called the Gun-Free School Zones Act. It was originally introduced by Herb Kohl of Wisconsin, co-sponsored and pushed through the Senate by Joe Biden out of Delaware. That made every public school in the nation a soft target. It banned the possession of in its original version, it banned the possession of any firearms within 1,000 feet of any school.
Mm-hmm.
And up to that point, we'd had virtually no school shootings ever, period. 1999, Columbine comes along in a gun-free school zone, and there have been copycats ever since. What I'm going to say right now is President Biden, every school shooting since 1990 is blood on your hands. These are a direct result of your malfeasance, sir. Don't you think it's about time to change the route we take? Sorry, I got going.
No, but I don't think the funny part is I don't think they see it that way at all. I mean, so their answer is we need all guns taken off of planet Earth. because that will solve all the evil problems. That will solve all problems of evil people. You know, the other part is when they passed that and they said 1,000 feet from a school zone, there are houses within 1,000 feet. You know, those people who lived on either side of a school or across the street from a school were legitimately disarmed. That U.S. citizens, though most people ignored it and most police allowed it to be ignored, you were not allowed to drive to the gun range with a gun in your car if you went on the road in front of the school. Okay,
Yes.
so think about how many schools there are and what your path is for you personally, to go to the range, right? I mean, I don't know that it is possible for more than 50% of the population to get to the range without going in front of or past a school.
Depending on the range, I could pull it off. But the one I go to the most, no, I couldn't. I go straight past a school zone.
Right.
So, and the original Gun-Free School Zones Act was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. It has since been amended so that the firearm must have been used in interstate or international commerce to bring it under the Commerce Clause of the Constitution. So,
yeah, it's kind of weird because right now schools can decide if they want, the school boards can decide if they want schools to be armed or not. Because Ohio leads the way with Faster Saves Lives in their Faster program, and as does Faster Colorado, Faster Arizona, and a bunch of the other states that are trying it. So each school individually has a choice. Though we've worked for 30 years to make it to where school teachers believe that this is the answer. And so this is part of that education of conservatives versus liberals. How many conservative school teachers do you know? I know a few, but very few.
Yeah. The ones I can think of were ones that were teachers when I was going through school. So, let me get, we got comments coming in. Boy, do we have comments coming in. Let me, going back to, by the way, John Anderson of Get Off My Lawn is going to be joining us, I'm guessing, here shortly. Wait a minute. Hang on. Let me push a button over here.
We may have him. There we go. Hey,
we
John.
Have a picture. Do we have a voice? Can you say something? We do.
How about
not.
now?
There we go.
Yes.
There we go. Woo! I had to kill a few gremlins, but I made it, and better late than not at all, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want everybody to notice the picture. We did not plan the wardrobe. But it is like red, white, and blue, or red, blue, and white.
There you go.
Or very, very close to it, right? Very patriotic today.
This is kind of tan, or maybe FDE for the tactically minded folks, but we'll take it as white for now.
It kind of comes across, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right.
Let me get a comment in here from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. He's too busy on social media saying he's going to be on the bullet. So...
to be on the bullet.
Well, so, he is. He made it. He made it.
We got him.
That's right.
We got him.
Thanks, Paul, for not making a liar out of me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No worries. No worries. And Larry, going to my little rant there, nice try, Paul, but you cannot reason with a rabid dog. No, but if you have a big enough stick, you can alter his behavior. So,
or beat it to death.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's some Sandhills Media said that my house is within 1,000 feet.
Who is that? That poor fella. I feel sorry for him.
So do you have an issue, or did you have an issue, or not really?
It's I honestly don't know if I'm violating any laws if I'm out mowing or scooping snow or whatnot and I'm on the sidewalk in front of my house. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I know in Nebraska I'm safe even driving into a school parking lot as long as I'm in my vehicle. I can get out of the vehicle as long as I've stowed a firearm in a safe or a second locked compartment in my vehicle. And then in my home, I believe you are exempt on private property.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
and if that's not right, then I admit nothing, and there are no firearms in my home.
We don't know anything about nothing.
I'm going to take probably this could end up taking the rest of the show, although there are a few other stories I want to get to briefly. But since I've got John on, we talked on the bullet yesterday when Craig DeLuz was with us that there is a push again this year to, I believe for the third year in a row, to get permitless or constitutional carry through the unicameral in Nebraska. And It looks like last year it failed by 3 votes. It looks like this year Nebraska may boldly go where 25 other states have gone before.
I tell you what, Lord willing, and we get a little help this year, we will get this one finally over the goal line. That's going to be as NFOA. We had our annual members meeting this last weekend. We told our membership there it's going to be our primary focus and our biggest push this year, of course, in this first year of our new legislative session. They take 2 years in Nebraska. And so Senator Brewer, who introduced the bill last year, he's got one ready to go. It's a streamlined bill, and there shouldn't be any reason for any poo-pooing as far as what the language says. It says what it does, and it does what it says, and that's it. No carve-outs, there shouldn't be any reason to amend the bill and cause a divide in I guess our voters across the state. So as soon as it is possible to submit the text to make it a bill, then Brewer is going to have that done. He's anticipating he gets it in early enough to be a single digit or a very low double digit bill number even. And we don't know anything, of course, the committee membership as far as the individual legislative committees. We don't know who's going to be on the committee. We don't know who the committee chair is going to be for Judiciary Committee that needs to hear the bill. But as soon as we have all that info, and as soon as they have it scheduled for a hearing for for folks to come in and testify for or against the bill or neutral, we will be getting that word out as far and wide as we can, because, and I'm going to say it right now, that's going to be the time that we want all the bodies that we can pack into that Capitol building to be packed in there. A few years ago, we had 300 to 400 people. I'm hoping we can double it this year. We'll see. Everybody obviously won't get to testify, but we want everybody to show up if we can once we know that date. The other thing is, anybody in Nebraska who is listening to this right now, between now and January 4th, when the new session commences, we need you to contact every state senator, all of them, and ask them to please not only support Senator Brewer's permitless carry bill, but ask them to sign on as a co-sponsor. The more senators' names we can get at the top of the original copy as co-sponsors, the more weight that has down the stretch. People sign on as it goes all the time, but the original co-sponsors, if we could have 30 or so of the senators do that would be huge. So that's going to be our big message in the next couple of weeks until the session starts in January.
All right.
So, John, one of the other things in Nebraska, is this the same as it is in Ohio? In Ohio, even if you don't get to testify, you can submit your testimony, like 2 written pages kind of thing, for it to go into the official record. So you could encourage all 300 or so of your folks, even if they cannot make it, they can write their testimony and submit it so that it goes into the record.
Absolutely, you can do that. You can submit your written testimony, and you can ask it to be included in the record. There are also, starting last year, they added an online comments option now. So we'll be posting the link to that as well once we have the bill number and that's in place, we'll post that link up so folks can go and sign in with, and again, you have to be a Nebraskan for this to matter, right? But you put your name and address in there, put your comments in there, it'll give you a place to do that. The biggest thing, and we, we're going to be meeting again here, the board here in a few more days, and we're going to streamline a plan as far as the message. One thing we're not going to do is put up a form letter that people can copy and paste. We want this to be truly organic, so everybody that reaches out, we want this to be in your words. We won't leave you hanging. We will give you the important things and the reasons why we feel it's important to pass this bill. And if you're stuck on how to word things, we'll get you started. It just needs to be in your words. It'll carry so much more weight. If you call, write, email, whatever it is, put it into your words. Nothing copied and pasted except possibly the email addresses. That's what we need to get these folks' attention. Last time, there were a few senators that commented that nobody contacted me and said they want this to be done, especially not in my district anyway. Well, I don't want that to be an option. I want to take that off the table. So we need people from every district to comment and ask their senator, even the ones that we think are hard, dead set lost causes. There's no such thing. And we still want them to not be able to say nobody asked them. So we'll get that info out as we can, as soon as we can. But if you haven't followed Nebraska Firearms Owners Association on Facebook, if you haven't gone to nebraskafirearms.org and signed up to be a member and signed up for emails, please do so. That way, once we get that info sent out there, you're sure to get it.
Well, there's two other pieces. Do you guys have a limit if you're testifying as to how long the testimony can be? And then I'm going to make this a two-part question. The other part is when you're contacting your senators, folks, they don't want a whole diatribe. They don't want anything. They really want 2, 3, 4 concise sentences and be done. Make it very clear as to what you want and which bill number you're added, because they're really going to look at it and go check mark in whichever box. The testimony, on the other hand, is where the uniqueness needs to come in. John?
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as time limits go, that always falls under discretion of the committee chair. So we won't know until probably late on the 4th or early on the 5th which senators make up the Judiciary Committee and who the chairperson is. But that chairperson sets time limits, whether it's going to be 3 minutes like it has been in the past or 6 minutes like it was before that. We won't know until that time comes. So I tell everybody, prepare a good statement and be ready to pare it down if we find out that we've only got 2 or 3 minutes. But the thing is, get right into the meat and potatoes and explain why in your heart you want this bill passed, and that's what we'll need. Right. And of course, we will do our best to try and front load the proponent testimonies with some folks who have differing messages. If it's a cookie cutter, if you're going to come up and say, hey, I feel just like the person that just spoke before me and ditto, well, then that's awesome, but that would be a great one to submit written.
Yes.
Or just show up. And here's another thing. I don't know about every state, but in Nebraska, you can show up, and even if you're not in the room, which is a fairly small room, you can sign in. You can mark that you are a proponent of the bill. You write the bill number in there, your name, and then you can wander back out into the hallway and let the next person in to sign in. And the number of people in person who signed in as proponents of the bill, that carries a lot of weight too. And it's not official weight, but make no mistake, that makes impact. So even if you don't have anything to say, you can show up and be counted as a number.
No, makes sense.
I want to get this comment from Big John 410. Sorry, John. I like copy and paste. Just saying.
Everybody likes copy and paste, and that it's easy, right? It doesn't take any effort. And
but
if it was
so
easy,
many people are afraid that they're not going to say it correctly.
Yeah.
Just put it in your own words.
Don't
because
worry
that's
about
really
typos.
Yeah.
If I had to worry about putting it
misspelling
correctly
things
all the time, I would never, ever, ever have a show. because I can't do that anymore.
No, it's more important that you get your feelings written down, even if, like I said, if you've got something misspelled, it's not the end of the world. As long as the person that you're sending it to understands what you are saying, what you're feeling, that's what's most important.
Right.
All right, I want to get this one in as well. As a state level 2afocus.org, is there any coordination between the state orgs to share intel, skills, resources, and successful strategies? There sure is. It's called Gun Rights Policy Conference.
Yes.
And by the way, we do have dates. I think I mentioned this on the air before. We do have dates for this coming GRPC and AmCon 2023. It is September 22nd through the 24th, and this year will be in Phoenix, Arizona. So, Pete, you don't have any excuse not to show up.
No, I think Pete's question is great. I mean, I think that the big piece of it is that organizations or places like SHOT Show, Gun Rights Policy Conference, those types of things, where the leaders of the different state organizations have an opportunity to interact and network with one another. That really carries a lot of weight, because then they've exchanged business cards, they've exchanged their cell phone numbers. And I know that I spend a lot of time connecting somebody with somebody, where it's like, do you know this person? No, you don't. Okay, let me show you. This is the person who knows that. And Gun Rights Policy Conference is key, absolutely key to that list of information.
And I'll second that. We're hoping that maybe all of the NFOA board will be able to make it to GRPC this year. That would be amazing. But and I just want to mention too, and I've not yet been to a gun rights policy conference myself in person, but if you're part of a state organization in a state that does not yet have constitutional carry or permitless carry, then GRPC is a great place to send at least a delegate from your organization to talk to the folks from the states that have gotten it passed, and gather their success stories and take home with you the things that worked in the other states. Because just like we see the bad stuff will spread from California to Washington to other states, across the country, the good stuff spreads too. Maybe not as fast as we'd like it, but success does breed success, and we can pick up steam as a movement. The more states that adopt constitutional carry legislation, the easier it'll get for the rest of the states to get that passed as well.
It should be really easy now, because Ohio, which is always lackluster, dragging their tail feathers through the mud kind of thing, they passed it. I mean, they're generally really proud to be, hey, I'm number 40. So so the fact that they were like 23, I think, it was pretty amazing.
I've got to get some more of these comments in here. This one's great. I love this comment. Riding Shotgun with Charlie says, sorry, John, I like copy and paste. Just saying.
Wow, it's almost like he copied and pasted Big John's comment.
Yeah, no doubt. Gun Websites came back with a question about the date. And that is September 22nd through 24th. The Sheraton Crescent in Phoenix. The same hotel the last time we were in Phoenix. It'll be back there, this same place. And Roderick Converse says, in Indiana 2022, permitless carry testimony was 2-1 opposed, and yet it still happened. It's important not only for you to testify, but even if you can't get there, you need to be in touch with your state legislator. I'll guarantee you, if they get, and state legislators normally answer their own phones. If they're getting 20, 30, 40, 50 phone calls from their district saying, we want this, they're going to sit up and take notice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're in Nebraska and you don't know who your state senator is, you can go to nebraskalegislature.gov, and when you get to the homepage, there's a column of things on the left-hand side, and one of them is senators. You can click there and then click on Find Your Senator. and you can plug in your address, and it will tell you exactly who that's going to be, and it'll give you their email, their phone number, all kinds of good stuff. And from there, you can actually reach out and find all of the senators' contact info. Again, we're asking, please, Nebraskans, contact every one of them and ask them to be a co-sponsor. And we don't know the bill number yet. It's not been submitted, but just say Senator Brewer's constitutional carry or permitless carry bill.
Well, and I got to say, be careful. When you hit that Find My Senator link, it may point you to the nearest strip club. Just saying.
Hopefully not on that website.
Anyway, I got one more story I really want to get in today. The rest will push off till tomorrow. And that story is this is a Tom Knighton story off bearingarms.com. You call in to report your gun is stolen. The next thing you know, you're in handcuffs. He writes, that doesn't make a lot of sense now, does it? Except it can actually happen. In fact, it did to one woman recently. A story out of Stamford, Connecticut. Local woman with a valid pistol permit who reported a gun stolen from her car ended up getting arrested and charged with 2 counts of storing or keeping a pistol in an unattended motor vehicle, according to police. I'm gonna let you go to Bearing Arms, look up the story, but this is what safe storage laws do wrong. If you are a victim of the crime, they make you a perpetrator of the crime.
Well, she said she had it locked in her car in the glove box. And they were like, well, there's not a secondary lock on your glove box, so it wasn't secured. And then there was a second firearm that was not stolen that was in her car that was in another unlocked case in the back seat or under the back seat or something. So the lock on the car, this is my car, stay out of it. Oh, by the way, just the fact that the doors are closed, this is my car, not your car, stay out of it.
Yes.
That would be step one, right? Your mom told you don't touch stuff that's not yours, right? But the fact that they are going to prosecute her for safe storage right after this happened, and this is about a week ago or so, there's a group of people in Connecticut that it just so happened that I fell into a group chat with them. And there were so many gun owners that were perfectly fine with her being arrested and prosecuted for lack of safe storage. I was appalled.
It's absolutely ridiculous. It takes, again, it takes a victim and turns them into a criminal. She didn't post a sign, free gun inside. You know,
And I know that this is maybe a dark analogy or not a vulgar analogy, but I always liken this topic to the same thing as a female that walks down the street in a tank top, and she's showing some belly button, and some creeper decides that he wants to force himself upon her, and then we turn around and tell her, honey, if you'd have just covered up, if you just wouldn't have been walking that part of town alone, if you'd have just done this or that, it never would have happened to you. This is really, it's all your fault, honey, for teasing the men like that. BS. We teach our women, our females, that when this stuff happens, they are not the perpetrator. That the attacker is the one that did something wrong, not them.
Yep.
Then we flip it around and arrest this woman for having her car robbed.
Correct.
Yeah, it's you're right, John. It's absolute victim blaming. It's certainly, but to the extreme of they're charging the victim with a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, we are long past time, and we burned up our. We've got more stories. Tune in tomorrow when Mike Piwowarski will be here, and Mike and I can burn through a story or two. So tune in tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. We'll get to those. Before I go ahead and shuffle off the end of the show here, I got to say, Amanda, plug your radio show, plug anything else you want to plug.
Oh, well, tune in Sunday nights, Eye on the Target Radio, and you can go to the website, Eye on the Target Radio, and find us there, or you Ops Lens, we are on that. We, wherever you can Google us, you'll find us, and tune in 5 to 7 Eastern time on Sundays.
How long is it going to be before we have Women for Gun Rights back up and running, or is that still a reimagination in progress?
It's probably January.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and you should definitely tune in to Eye on the Target Radio. I hear she's got one hot shot video producer that's got a snarky comment he throws up every once in a while.
Not every once in a while, often. Often.
John, Get Off My Lawn podcast. I even think I got it spelled correctly under your name. Plug
Looks
that.
perfect.
Anything else you'd like to, bud?
Absolutely. You can catch us tomorrow night and every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Central Time. Sorry, Amanda, the only time zone that matters. We talk about gun stuff or 2A stuff or something completely different. Just kind of depends on what the host decides that week. But tomorrow night we're going to talk about EDC faux pas and mistakes that we've made in our journey to maybe we can save somebody else a little heartache. You can find that info anywhere, Sandhills Media on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. And then you can follow those pages as well as Nebraska Firearms Owners Association, or go to nebraskafirearms.org for the 2A stuff here and the permitless carry stuff here in Nebraska. But as soon as we get that info, we will disseminate that, and then I will turn around and reshare it on the Sandhills Media pages as well.
Yeah, I lied. I got to get some of these comments in because we got a lot of comments about that last story. And I was looking at show notes, not comments. So let me get these comments in here fast, and we will be getting out of here. Don't store guns in your car, but I still commend her for the report. But she shouldn't be arrested. That from Gerald. George says, would she be prosecuted if someone had stolen her car and had run over a pedestrian? And Big John 410 has a question. Was the car itself locked? I don't know if it was, but windows are not hard to break.
I believe it was. I believe the car was locked. The glove box was not.
So yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with the people that are saying don't store your gun in your car. It's not a holster. And especially if you are one of these people that have NRA stickers, Second Amendment Foundation sticker, Gun Owners of America, do not ever, ever, ever store your gun in your car. Those are just an advertisement that I am a gun owner. And if your car gets broken into, they're going to be looking hard for that firearm.
And keep in mind, too, if you're going to put those all over your vehicle, even if if you don't have firearms in the car, if you park that outside your house in the driveway or on the street in front, it's still a big billboard.
It is. Mm-hmm. It is. And one more little bit here on the way out the door. If you're going to a gun store, for God's sakes, carry the gun in your holster in with you or put it in a case or something. Do not ever leave a gun in a car at a gun store. A lot of cars are broken into at gun stores because they are. So, all right, that's going to do it for us today. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thanks for all. We've gotten just a ton of comments. We've got 2 full pages of comments. I only got a few of them up today. But thank you, everybody, for commenting. Thanks for watching. Come join us 5 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. I'm right there with you, John. 5 p.m. Central, the only time zone that matters. Until then, everybody, have a great day, and thanks for watching.